Hello, welcome to Wealth Creation Thursday, a conversation on how to create wealth and live abundantly. I'm your host, Wangare, and as you know, our conversations are usually powered by the Making Sense book, which is a book that has been authored by Waceke and Nduati. And the thing that I love most about this book is because it features real life personal stories of people and their money journey. So you'll be able to follow Dishon, you'll be able to follow Douglas, you'll be able to follow Faith from when they were financially struggling to when they were able to find financial success. So ensure that you grab a copy of the book. On today's conversation, this is a conversation that really got me thinking, and I decided that this is a conversation that we need to have. And the topic of today is money traumas. And I've gone through some stuff in life that has affected how I relate with money today, and I can see the loopholes. I can see the ways in which I could do better. And the reason as to why I'm finding challenges is because I have some traumas. I have some money traumas. So do you have some money traumas? So what is money trauma to begin with? So I'm going to start by a definition of the word. So money trauma refers to the deep psychological and emotional stress or negative patterns associated with money due to past financial experiences. I'm going to repeat that again for you. So money trauma refers to the deep psychological and emotional stress or negative patterns associated with money due to past financial experiences. And these past financial experiences can be yours, financial experience, or it can be the environment that you grew in, or even the things that you saw growing up. And where does the money trauma stem from? So these experiences or these traumas, they stem from one, your money trauma could be from growing up in poverty. So if at all you grew up, in deplorable conditions, if at all you grew up in poverty, you'd realize that as an individual, you could be struggling with chronic hopelessness. Maybe you're the kind of people who you never think that your financial situation could ever change for the better, because growing up, they never ever got better, So growing up in poverty could be a money trauma. Could be the reason as to why you have money traumas too. It could be witnessing financial instability. Maybe when you were growing up in your childhood, your parents had a really prestigious job, their business was doing very well, and then all of a sudden things went haywire and things maybe became difficult. I remember watching Pinky Gelani's story on Financially Incorrect when she was talking about like the dad who was how she described it is that he was a very wealthy man, and then unfortunately the dad died, and there was financial constraints that came with that, with that situation. So financial instability could be a reason as to why you actually have money traumas. That thing is going through financial loss. It could be that you've gone through financial loss. Let's say, for example, you had a parent who had a chronic illness, and all the savings that you ever had, all the investments that you ever made, maybe you had to liquidate them to offset those kinds of bills, and as a result, you went through a financial loss. Because you had envisioned that this net that I have for myself, this safe net that I have for myself would maybe last me 10 years, but probably now it won't last you 10 years because you've already gone through it because of an ailing parent. It could be you went through a financial loss because you got scammed. We've talked in the last episode about how do you identify investment scams and how do you avoid investment scams. It could be the reason as to why you are struggling with a money trauma is because the environment where you grew in, there was always chronic stress about money. You grew up and your parents, they were always fighting about money. There was no peace in that home. And for you internalized it as Money is bad. Money brings conflict. So for you, because you do not maybe want conflict, then that means that you are not even looking for this money, or you're not growing this money, because for you money is related with a very negative, there's a negative feeling when you hear about money because of what you went through. So those are the things, or some of the things that could make you have these money traumas. And I'm going to continue to give you other examples. For me, I went through a situation. If you know me well, my friends, they know this about me. I was homeless in 2020 when the pandemic hit. And I have never felt very destabilized as I did during that period of my time. And because I was homeless, and I was homeless, and lucky enough, I had a friend who actually took me in for a couple of weeks, many weeks, not a couple of weeks. And if she didn't do that for me, if she didn't come through for me in that way, God knows what could have happened to me, And let's give a shout out to people who actually come through for me. And really, sometimes a friend will stick closer than a brother. And what this situation, being homeless, what my homeless situation made me do, or the behavior that it created, is that I am a compulsive saver. I'm those kinds of people. You see how you're usually told that you need a 3 months emergency fund, a 6 months emergency fund. Me, I need a 30-year emergency fund so that I'm not homeless again. You understand? So what this means, it means that the underlying relationship, or the underlying cause of this behavior, is fear, because I do not want what happened in 2020 to ever happen to me ever again. You get? And what are some of the missed opportunities? It means that the money that could have gone into investment, I've lost investment opportunities, because my brain is usually just save, because you do not know when another homeless situation, is waiting for you. So that is a money trauma, and it cost me money because I wasn't able to invest as aggressively as I know I could because of this money trauma, and I needed to heal this money trauma. And maybe for you, your money trauma could be when you were growing up, you saw your parents being auctioned. 1 minute you have, 1 minute you do not have. 1 minute you're part of the haves, and the next minute you're the part of the have-nots. You understand? And that could create a money trauma, in your relationship with money. And what does this mean for you? It could mean that for you, you've always associated debt as madeni ni mbaya, debts are bad. I do not want anything to do with debts. And we've even had cases, even for some of our circles, where women are really good savers, but they're not taking money to borrow. They're not taking money to borrow for their businesses. They're not taking money to borrow to do investment, to pursue new projects. Maybe it's because of the traumas or the experience that you saw growing up. And it means that there's an underlying sense of fear, underlying sense of anxiety. And the missed opportunity here is that you're unable to grow yourself, because it gets to a point in time where you need to take advantage of other people's money, which is loans, for you to be able to invest more, for you to be able to, expand your business. So how is your money? Tell me in the comment section below, how is your money traumas affecting your financial health currently? And here is how to heal your money traumas. Number one, you need to acknowledge and understand your triggers. For me, I needed to understand, by the way, why is my investment portfolio not as good as I hope it to be? And then now I realized that it's because of things that I went through. It's because of my homeless situation. It's because growing up, I grew up also in poverty. I was always the person who's, when the headmaster comes or the headmistress comes with the list of people who they'll be chased away of school because of school fees, I knew that my bags were packed in my box, ready to go home, because that was the financial, that was the I grew up with finances was something that was a scarce resource. And what that cost me is I grew up with a lot of chronic hopelessness. I never thought in my mind that things could ever get better for me financially. I never thought that I could ever experience growth because things only got worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's because I'm able to have a sense of awareness of, oh, my scarcity mentality is and stems from the things that I actually went through. So for you, you need to have to acknowledge and understand your triggers. So what are your triggers and what have been causing your money trauma? The second thing is, as we've said, awareness is the greatest agent of change. The second thing is you need to figure out what are the steps forward. Because for me, I realized that I have very deeply held beliefs or deeply held limiting beliefs because of the things that I've gone through in my life. I realized I needed professional help. I realized that I needed to go to therapy so that we can be able to unpack, some of this deep-seated, there are things that you can't just talk. There are things that you need you need professional help. You having a conversation with your friend about it, there's only so much they could help you. So you need that professional help. And so for me, that was my step. My step looked like I need somebody to help me figure this out together. I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to, cut down Kamait's entertainment money, so that I can divert those funds into therapy so that I can heal myself. So what does that look like for you? The other thing is financial literacy. Financial literacy is a way in which you can be able to, heal your money traumas. But by this, I mean, you need to learn how to handle your money well. You need to know which are these checks and balances that I need to put in place in order to set myself up for success. You also need to figure out, when you are financially literate, it reduces anxiety around money because it equips you with the tools that you need to be able to make sound financial decisions. Maybe for you, if you have maybe low self-esteem, you have low self-worth, and you're like, why bother, to grow myself? Why bother, to figure things out for myself? Or if at all you have some struggles going through you and you have maybe self-esteem issues, ensure that you're actually equipping yourself with tools like pushing in a standing order. But because when you put in a standing order and you're saying this 10,000 will go into my savings and investments, it also casts, a vote, into your own betterment, that actually you're putting things in place to actually set you up for success because you are deserving of a good future, because you are deserving of financial freedom. You will never, ever, ever, ever know true freedom until you know financial freedom. You can never be truly free until you're financially free. So every decision that you make that actually casts a vote towards the betterment of you, then that's a really good way of actually ensuring that things mbele iwe iko sawa. So those are my tips for you on how to heal your money trauma. So let's talk in the comments on how did you know that you have money traumas and how are you dealing with your money traumas. So this has been a very insightful episode, even for me when I did my research behind it. So make sure that you've liked this video, make sure that you have subscribed to this video, and make sure that you have shared this video with your friends, with your family. And make sure, as I've mentioned, to comment down below. And as you know, these conversations wouldn't be possible without the Making Sense book, which has been authored by Waceke and Nduati. So these are real life conversations about people and their money journey. It's only 1,000 shillings. So if at all you're looking for a tool book that will steer you in the right direction financially this year, then this is it. The book retails at 1,000 shillings. You can call us down below and get your copy, or you can buy the book at 1,200 from our bookshop partners, which is Textbook Center, Nuria Bookshop, at Bazaar Plaza. You can get it at Half Priced Bookshop, at Prestige Bookshop. You can get it at Somanami Books. You can get it at Kibanga Books, Bookstop Yaya Center, Amazon as a Kindle version or a paperback version for our international listeners. You can get it at Sparkle Bookshop and at Aristoc Booklex Uganda. Thank you for tuning in. Till next time, kwaherini.